Welcome back, YouTubers, to another WWE vlog in HD with me, Mr. Parkin. And this guy sitting next to me, he is also dressed in blue, just like me. It's NJ.
What's up?
What's up, NJ? What's up to you guys out there? Today's video is going to be based on an idea we just really sort of thought of, which is, are there really enough credible babyfaces in the WWE at the moment, considering how many heels we seem to have now? Before we start this video though, make sure you guys subscribe up above, like me and NJ just showed you, like this video, and comment your thoughts on this video down below. Just watch and you'll find out exactly what we're going to be talking about.
And contact us in the links in the description box below.
Yes, down there, people. So where better to start off, really? At the moment we've got Raw. What we've got here is a list of the heels and the faces, so like the rivalries that we've got. Now the first guy we come across is John Cena. We all know he's the most credible babyface. He's the top guy in the company. No, we don't have a problem there. He's probably the best. He's the best babyface that Raw have by far. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Just because he's the top man, he draws the most money.
Okay, moving on.
The next guy we have is Alex Riley. Now, Alex Riley at the moment is in a rivalry with The Miz. Now, as much as this rivalry will, improve his status in the WWE, he's not quite. He's only just made this face turn. He's not quite ready for a big time to be a big time wrestler yet. He's going to be a mid carder in the future.
Well, talking about that, if they're planning on having him as in the mid card, why are they having him up in the main event area already? Then they're already having him with Cena. They're already having him with, as we've listed in other videos, Austin. If they think having a mid card, why are they having him up top to begin with?
It's all part of his sort of initial push to get him noticed by people. To have him beat on, people that people like, having team up with Cena, who's a main eventer. Just gonna go back to Cena for a little bit. He's in a rivalry with R-Truth. Now, R-Truth is by far, he's not considered. He's considered now the top heel on Raw. One reason why he's considered the top heel on Raw is because he's getting the most heat. So it makes sense for him to have a rivalry with John Cena. The Miz has been demoted down to Riley. Now, I don't mind this, but do we really want Miz, who was our ex-champion, against a guy who's just coming through the ranks, even though this rivalry kind of makes sense with the storyline?
The way I see this is, when I saw Riley attacking Miz, I just thought, I don't see anything bad in it.
No, neither did I.
I'm thinking it makes sense because it's like, people have been making points that Miz has been carrying Riley, when it should be Riley carrying himself.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, with this attack, it's good that this rivalry is happening. I think they've done it correctly. I have no problem with how they've done it.
No, I don't have a problem with how they've done it either. It's just that, do you think the Miz is kind of too high of a rivalry for Alex Riley? What do you think? Because I can see why they're doing it, because they're trying to give him a good push and they're doing a good start. But is it demoting Miz too much, or is it just having the right effect?
Well, one, how did Miz become where he is at?
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank. So it's not like the WWE made him go there just like that.
But he's been built as He's been built over these last couple of years as a US champion, a tag team champion, and so it was about time he became the WWE champion.
Oh, let's
and
go with that.
He was built as a champion for a good 6 months.
Well, let's go with that. They built him up to be where he is at.
Yeah.
So why can't Miz help someone else to get to that stage? In a way, he's going to be putting Alex Riley over by basing him, by having a rivalry with him. So I think it's not doing anything bad to Miz.
No, it's not. It's doing more good for Riley than it is for Miz. But I suppose at the end of the day, the Miz is there to put Alex Riley over, which is the right thing to do, I imagine. Moving on to our next sort of rivalry we've got the next face we have in WWE is Big Show. Now, we have a big problem with Big Show being a face. My problem is, this guy is a big guy, right? Surely if you're a big guy that can dominate people, it's better to be a heel where the heel is controlling and dominating the match and trying to gain heat, rather than being a face who people think is going to win all the time just because of his sheer size. And whenever someone does beat him, they're thinking to themselves, how have they done that?
Well, the way I see this, Big Show's been working alongside the McMahons, and obviously back then the McMahons have always been the heels. And they've had Big Show working alongside them. And then after that, Big Show went up to be a heel on his own when he was up against Edge and Cena.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of Big Show's heel work. And for him to see a face, I'm like, no, for years and years and years, you've seen heel Big Show. So him turning face is just not looking right. It's not looking right.
And he's in a rivalry at the moment with, I'm assuming he's going to be in a rivalry with Del Rio. Now, Del Rio is one of those guys who, when he was a top heel on SmackDown, it was doing great for him. They moved him over to Raw. I assume they moved him over to Raw because they wanted to get him on the A show, get him more exposure, and to be one of those top heels. But it just seems like they're kind of delaying Del Rio a little bit, and it's kind of stopping his push. Having him against Big Show, is that really a credible enough feud for him? I know Big Show is a big guy, but is that really a credible feud for him? It's only just going to be a filler feud, isn't it?
Well, the way I've seen it, I'm pretty sure it was a last-minute idea from WWE.
Yeah, it had to be.
Because the way it looked like, it was just like, oh, right, that's just been thrown in there.
Well, it looked like it was going to be R-Truth Morrison and then Del Rio Cena, but it seemed like because Morrison got injured, they've had to change it around a little bit, and this has been the result of it.
Well, with Del Rio, I do have a problem with this Del Rio versus Big Show, because I'm thinking, again, if this did not happen, I don't think they would have had any idea for Big Show. Big Show would have just floated around the tag team.
Yeah, it would have been. I mean, to be honest, to have Big Show in the tag team division wouldn't exactly have been a bad thing. At least it's a tag team, a credible tag team at that.
But then, what they've done with Del Rio, he couldn't really have faced anyone. So I think, well, maybe this is helping Big Show go back up to where he should be, which is near the main event.
Well, it should, to be honest, this kind of rivalry should be helping Del Rio a lot more, really, shouldn't it? It should really be a kind of stepping stone to him for the main event, which is seemingly what this is, rather than a sort of stepping stone for Big Show, who's already sort of been there and done that as an established guy, and now he's got to that point in his career where he should really be putting people over.
But at the same time, we've noticed that, well, Big Show's on Raw, which we've looked at, and there's enough main eventers there. So maybe the draft for going back to the draft, maybe draft Big Show. I know it's been said he's done every year, but I think moving Big Show wasn't the best idea because SmackDown could have continued using him in the main event slots.
Yeah.
But going back to Del Rio, eventually we'll face Cena, but I think him against Big Show.
It's filler, isn't it? It's just
help Big Show,
It's waiting until he gets into a rivalry with Cena, right?
When that comes
sometime around SummerSlam, maybe post SummerSlam. Now the next face we have is Rey Mysterio. At the moment, we don't really know, is he in a rivalry with CM Punk? Is it just a filler match on Raw? We don't really know yet, do we? It's not really been made official.
Well, it's made me feel, I've seen the last Raws, that it's going to be another CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio feud.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, CM Punk is one of those guys, again, he's obviously a main eventer. He's one of those guys that's stuck in that, WWE have kind of made a mistake here. They put a lot of main event heels on Raw. And he's kind of one of those guys that's been sort of stuck at the bottom of that because of the fact that they've had Miz, Del Rio, R-Truth. Do you know what I mean? But I think, at the moment, he's with Mason Ryan, correct?
He is.
Do you think Mason Ryan will come face at some point?
Let's say if it does come to CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio, I think the Mason Ryan face turn will happen after that.
Yeah. Part of CM Punk's. If CM Punk's going to leave, then he might as well do something like put Mason Ryan over. Especially if WWE want to create a next second babyface to John Cena at some point on Raw.
Which obviously they could do, but they've got to sort out this Rey Mysterio CM Punk thing first.
True. He's the thing is that Mason Ryan is the kind of guy that WWE would usually put in the main event, like a Batista type character. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did turn him babyface, to be honest.
It could happen because obviously, with the way it looks, both the necks are breaking down. Mm-hmm. So I think what they're going to do with each member after they've broken down.
Let's face it, Raw really do need a sort of second babyface at the moment. John Morrison doesn't seem to really be fulfilling that because WWE don't seem to really want to go all the way with this push. So WWE kind of need this sort of second babyface in the future.
I think that's the case. Yeah.
We then have now we've got Jack Swagger. Okay, Jack Swagger is another heel that's been a champion, and he's in a rivalry with Booker T and Evan Bourne. Is this a bit demoting for Jack Swagger? Could he be used better on SmackDown, or he could be in a sort of higher rivalry, for example?
With Jack Swagger, I think while he's been floating around doing nothing until now, I think he needs to have like stepping stones. He needs to rebuild stepping stones. I think him against Evan Bourne, Booker T is a stepping stone for him. I think once he's done that rivalry with Evan Bourne / Booker T, then maybe push him a little bit. Yeah, because
again, you've got a guy here who's been a world champion, who's just seemingly in the mid card / undercard on Raw, and it just seems to make it just seems like a year ago he was champion, now he's in the mid card / lower mid card. It just doesn't seem to really make sense, if you know what I mean.
No, but it's just that maybe I'm going to stick with, I think Booker T and Evan Bourne are stepping stones for him to look good again, maybe.
Especially if Booker T is there, because we all know Booker T now is the kind of guy. He's not really going to be there to win titles, so he's going to be the kind of guy that's going to be there to put people over. Seeing as he's now, an old legend, it can give someone some credibility. So if they do go down that route, it looks like they're going to have Booker T put Jack Swagger over, which can only be good for Jack Swagger, to be honest.
Then hopefully in a couple of months he could be back where he was before.
Yeah. The next person we have, Kofi Kingston. Now, Kofi Kingston is our US champion. Not exactly the most credible US champion. He's been stuck in the mid-card for a while. He's one of those guys that hasn't really seemed to progress beyond the mid-card. And he just had a title put on him because of the draft. He's in a rivalry with Dolph Ziggler. Now, Dolph Ziggler, again, it's another main event. He was a main event on SmackDown in the filler feud for Del Rio and Edge leading up to WrestleMania. Again, it just seems to me, Dolph Ziggler is another guy who's been world champion and he's just stuck in the mid-card again on Raw.
Dolph Ziggler, okay. The way I see him is that when he was in the main event, he was doing good.
Mm-hmm.
When he was getting involved in, with Cena and all that, making a name for himself, I was fine. But then, I don't know what the WWE think when they brought him down.
They just brought him over to Raw simply because of this WrestleMania match they had planned, rather than keeping him on SmackDown where he could have been used a little bit better, in my opinion. And now he's just stuck in the mid-card on Raw. They don't really seem to have too much to do with him, but that's a lot they can do. At least they've done something with Dolph Ziggler. Apart from now, okay, because I want to go on to next is Drew McIntyre, a guy who we both think should really get some sort of push.
He should do.
And he's one of those guys again that is like at the bottom of the list because they've got too many good heels on Raw. What the hell are they going to do with him? They've got nothing for him to do at the moment. He's never on TV apart from jobbing at the moment. It was the same on SmackDown as well.
I think with Drew McIntyre, again, I think maybe they didn't like how Drew looked on SmackDown when he was with Theodore Long. Maybe they looked at him and thought, nah, I don't see this guy as a main eventer. We don't know what to do with him.
The only thing I can think of is if he's pissed someone off backstage or something.
He must have done something, because in SmackDown, he was chosen as the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting involved with the general manager, so he was bringing in a lot of good heat.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the WWE just looked at him and thought, nah, I don't know, but I think if they do start using him, he's going to have to start with stepping stones again. He's going to have to start with facing someone like Evan Bourne or someone small like that.
Even a jobber. Give him a match against a jobber.
They have to start rebuilding him.
A face jobber like, I don't know, JTG or something.
Someone small like that, then work his way back up, because he's no way going to be put straight in main events again.
He kind of declined really, didn't he? As soon as Vince McMahon left and stopped being a sort of manager, the chosen one person, and then since last year's Money in the Bank, it seems like his push has just gone downhill and he's been non-existent since. Now, what about John Morrison? John Morrison's injured. John Morrison, again, can be a credible main event face, but he's not quite there yet, is he?
Well, all we know is that when he comes back, he's going to go straight up to R-Truth, and then he's going to work his way back to the top where he was before he left.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully that'll mean Del Rio goes against Cena. That's what we kind of need at the moment, especially if you're going to complete Del Rio's push, which you haven't yet completed.
But then eventually, what I'm thinking, he'll come back after R-Truth, because R-Truth's in the main event, so that's going to probably put John Morrison in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
After he's faced R-Truth, he's probably then, hopefully, going to have a rivalry with the champ.
Yeah.
I'm thinking John Morrison's going to make it back where he would before he left.
Yeah.
He will.
So the main points we have here are, we've got two, to do with the actual topic of this question, we have two main points. Firstly, we have too many main event heels, or too many good heels, because of the draft. And because of that, the baby faces that Raw have are not credible enough to go against them, because these main event heels are all the way up there, and some of the faces are all the way down here, which is why I sort of thought about doing this video, because I thought to myself, some of their faces aren't exactly the most credible people, even though you've got a lot of those main event heels that are credible.
Yeah. The way I'm seeing it, with Raw, they need to share some of their wrestlers out to SmackDown.
Yeah, they're doing it a lot better than SmackDown from what we see.
They are.
At least Raw have 7 or 8 sort of possible rivalries there between heels and faces, whereas SmackDown is a heel heaven, really, after Christian and Harley's heel turn.
Yeah, I'm thinking we haven't got a draft for another year, so they're going to have to think of one way of, if they do decide to share their wrestlers back on SmackDown, they've got to think of another way of doing it.
Yeah.
Just to make it level out.
Yeah. Okay. So what we've pretty much done there is we've gone over the sort of the main feuds on Raw at the moment. Looking at the heels on one side, the baby faces on the other, we've really come to the conclusion that a lot of these baby faces, like Alex Riley, Kofi Kingston, Evan Bourne, are facing people that aren't really are quite a way above them. Now, whether this is good or bad, it doesn't really matter, but because it all has the potential to be good. But the fact of the matter is that some of the baby faces are down here, and a lot of the heels are up here, and it doesn't really seem to be the most credible rivalry. If you know what I'm saying.
That's true. And at the moment, that's what we said about Raw. We said that Raw's full with faces. They've got loads of faces. Yes, they've got enough heels to match up, but that leaves a point for SmackDown.
Yeah, and that is what we'll do, NJ, is because this video has got to 15 minutes, we'll finish talking about Raw and we'll talk about SmackDown in another video.
Yeah.
Yep.
That sounds good.
So, what do you guys think of what we've said in this video about the baby faces being not too credible on Raw, or the heels being way up there on Raw? Make sure you put your comments in the comment section below, of course. Make sure you subscribe to us at the British Fist, like our videos, all the rest of that stuff. NJ, can you just remind these people where they can contact us?
You can contact us in the links in the description box below.
Yes. Make sure you get us on Skype, Twitter, Facebook, all of those things, because we really like responding to you guys. And make sure you continue getting your questions in for our Q&A too. We definitely want more questions.
Because obviously, what we're thinking of doing with this, we want to hear your sponsors, because there's a lot that we're not too happy about with what WWE are doing. And also with the Q&A, keep them coming, because obviously we're going to continue making videos, and you guys can help us make more.
Yeah, and of course we will go on to SmackDown in the next video, and SmackDown is a big problem in our opinion.
So we'll have a lot to say about that.
We will definitely have a lot to say about SmackDown. That has been it from us. That's been it from us, the British Fist. NJ, can we do this, please?
Ka-ching!
And can I get a what's up?
What's up?
Just because I think we need 2 of them for the video now, to be honest. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and goodbye.